Bull riding gets deadly when the bull stops bucking.
Wow, I mean, you know, that hit him hard.
And starts using you as the ground.
Power 7.2, and then he gets bull.
These knockouts didn't just slam riders down, they tried to erase them. Let's start with Tony Mendez. Little Boy Blue targeted his weakest knee and crushed it beyond saving. Tony Mendez climbed onto Little Boy Blue with a knee that was already hanging by threads. But the bull didn't care. Little Boy Blue whipped hard, dropped his weight, then smashed straight down on that injured leg.
Fitz makes the ride to the left on TaylorMade down in the well and then stepped on right on his knee.
The hit was targeted. Vicious. Mendez didn't just feel pain, he felt something tear, something collapse inside the joint. The brace that was meant to save him trapped his knee in place and forced it to take every pound of the bull's body.
That tore his ACL and his MCL.
Months of healing got wiped out in the blink of an eye. One press, one brutal crush, one bull laying waste to everything surgeons and therapy had tried to fix for so long. Then there's Brian Cantor. Manlaw pinned him down and squeezed the air out of his lungs. Brian Cantor rode clean, solid, ready to finish strong. Then Manlaw ended the ride like a punishment. The bull came down on him and refused to move. No jumping, no stomping, just crushing. Manlaw pinned Cantor's torso under nearly a ton of pressure, pressing into him. Slow, heavy, merciless.
For Brian Cantor to represent the home state, and there he is, staying but leaning over.
Cantor tried to breathe, but the bull kept him smashed into the dirt like it was grinding him into the earth. The pain was like drowning without water. Every second felt longer than the entire ride.
Body slam, full body slam, but it just goes to show you how tough this North Carolina.
By the time Manlaw moved off, Cantor wasn't just hurt, he was drained, carved out by agony he couldn't fight or escape. Next up, Bobby Capps. Primetime hit twice, landing the second blow like it was meant to break him. Bobby Capps hit the ground hard, and Primetime turned a simple fall into pure violence. First, the bull slammed down on top of him, crushing him into the arena like he weighed nothing. Capps barely had time to tense up.
Electric. Bobby Capps win some money, try to get in the top 45. Look out. Whoa, look at that bully.
Before he could blink, the bull launched up and came down again. A second blow, a more deliberate one. You don't mistake hits like that. The first was a crash. The second was execution.
Watch this.
Here's another shot.
Look at this bull. You can't buck much harder than that.
Bones rattled, muscles tore, and everything under that weight felt like it was being smashed into paste. Capps later said it felt like Primetime wanted him gone, and the bull's double stomp proved it. Trust me, it only gets harsher from here. Every wreck after this hits heavier, breaks harder, hurts more. Up next, Corey Rash. Chili Falls dropped backward and smashed his pelvis under 1,700 pounds. Corey Rash was seconds away from something riders dream about, a clean, qualified ride on Chili Falls. But then Chili snapped. Instead of bucking him off clean, the bull lost posture and dropped backwards, smashing its full weight straight onto Rash's pelvis.
Corey Rash.
Human hips aren't built to catch a 1,700-pound drop. Bones don't bend there. They break, sharp and fast, like twigs being cracked in a clenched fist. Rash didn't just feel impact, he felt bone give way under a falling mass that crushed him into the dirt.
Is that it? The clock? What's the clock?
The clock froze at the start. What happened?
The arena froze while his body lay twisted under the bull like a crushed frame. 2 months off the circuit felt long, but the real pain was knowing how fast one perfect ride can turn into a recovery that crawls. Coming up next, Cowie Hudson. Spittin' Image drove a horn deep into his gut and left him fighting to breathe. Cowie Hudson looked stable on Spittin' Image, locked in tight, riding clean. Then the bull went from wild to surgical, a whip of the head, a sharp drive forward. A horn rammed straight into Hudson's gut like a blade, not a scrape, not a bruise. A deep punishing stab into soft flesh where there was nothing to protect him.
Atta boy, good bull ride. Oh, baby. Whoa, look out.
Man.
Abdominal trauma doesn't wait to hurt. It poisons every breath, every movement.
Wow, I mean, you know, that hit him hard.
Hudson was grabbed by medics fast because there's no cast for a smashed organ and no brace to hold a damaged liver together. All he could do afterward was sit still and feel pain burn inside him and wait weeks for his body to stop threatening to tear itself apart. Then there's Brent Vincent. Red Cloud stepped on his skull and rattled his brain on impact. Brent Vincent hit the ground wrong, and Red Cloud turned the mistake into a nightmare. Before Vincent could roll away, the bull's hoof came down on his head and buried his skull into the dirt. There are hits, and then there are skull hits. This one wasn't a stomp, it wasn't a kick, it was a pure crush, weight pressing into bone meant to protect everything a person is. Vincent's head took the full force, and it scrambled his brain instantly, like something inside went blank and had to reboot. Concussion symptoms hit hard, pounding through his skull for weeks.
Has not been written this year.
Just relax. Everybody relax.
A headache from a bull stepping on your head feels like thunder inside your skull. A reminder that you survived only because the hoof didn't go a millimeter deeper. Vincent stepped out of the arena alive, but with a brain that needed weeks just to remember what normal felt like. Next up, Brian Herman. Blackhawk settled on top of him and crushed every breath out of his chest. Brian Herman almost had it. The whistle was close enough to taste. Blackhawk should have been done. But bulls don't care about rules or points. Blackhawk bucked him off late, then stood over him like a truck settling into park and drove every pound into Herman's torso.
This bull is packing a lot of power. 7.2, and then it gets mauled.
No space to breathe, no room to expand a rib. Air got trapped, pain sucked in tight, and his lungs felt locked inside a cage. It wasn't fast damage, it was crushing pressure that forced his body to fold inward. Internal injuries become a real threat under that kind of weight.
Gets to the inside, bull drifts away, but you can't try any harder than that.
And the bull just refused to move, grinding Herman into the ground under his mass. The ride was over, but the punishment kept going. Herman walked away shaken, reminded that bulls don't stop performing just because a whistle does. Coming up next, Rodney Lidgard. Grape Ape walked over him slowly, crushing him step by step. Rodney Lidgard didn't just get stepped on, he got used. Grape Ape threw him to the dirt, and instead of dodging him, the bull walked straight over his body like it was nothing more than ground.
Hubcap, Rodney Lidgard, come on, oh, he's in trouble. Whoa, look out, oh man,
Not one step, multiple, slow, crushing, methodical steps that flattened his body section by section. Ribs, hips, arms, organs, everything took turns under the bull's weight. It wasn't a fall, it wasn't even an attack, it was domination. Like the bull treated him as flooring, not flesh.
Boom, now watch this, boom, he's hitting, now look here. Oh, my word.
Lidgard later said the bull didn't step on him, he used him. That comment alone tells the story. No panic, no wild buck, just a quiet, steady walk over a human body, recrushing whatever was beneath each hoof. No bull ride prepares you for that, because no rider expects to become part of a bull's path. Next is Zane Lambert. Candy collapsed on him like dead weight, locking his lungs shut under pure mass. Zane Lambert rode Candy expecting a brutal jump and kick fight. Instead, the bull crashed down like a slab of dying weight and buried Lambert under him. No movement, no escape.
Got another one. Hey.
Candy didn't stomp. He fell on top of him like a dead engine slamming onto a worker. Lambert's chest couldn't lift, his ribs couldn't push air. Panic replaced pain, because there was no room to breathe, no inch of space between him and the bull crushing him into the dirt. His body didn't hurt first, it suffocated. Every second felt colder, tighter, deadlier, like the bull was grinding him into the ground.
He's not one of the great bulls. The bulls that are really great, they really buck up and down on top of the ground.
When Candy finally rolled off, Lambert gasped like someone dragged out from under a collapsed building. The damage wasn't just bruised ribs, it was the memory of lungs shutting down under a living weight he couldn't fight. And finally, Donald Owens, Tricks for Free crushed, dragged, and tore him through the dirt like a bull set on destruction. Donald Owens came into that ride focused, steady, and fighting for every point. But bulls don't care about perfect rides. Tricks for Free snapped mid-burst and turned the arena into a disaster zone. The bull didn't toss him off and move on. He collapsed sideways and slammed Owens beneath every pound of his body.
Well, get off there. We'll let him hit you with the horn. He hit him with the horn on the way up. Yeah, you're up.
No second to roll, just instant pressure crushing ribs, shoulders, and spine all at once. Then it got worse. Tricks for Free shoved himself back up and dragged Owens across the dirt like trash. This wasn't bucking, this was violent twisting, joints being yanked in directions they were never meant to go, nerves firing everywhere at once.
Now watch this, it hits him right there. Boom. Whack. There's where it hit him. Okay, get it moving, Frank Newsom, rotate.
Pain didn't spread, it exploded through his whole body. Owens didn't just fall off a bull, he got crushed, dragged, and torn through the dirt by one that wasn't done hurting him. If you made it through all 10, drop your thoughts in the comments, hit like, and subscribe for more.